Hello and welcome to Women's Collective Thinking into Results, a place you can come to start shifting your thoughts to finally create the results you truly desire. I'm your host, Angie Gerber. Let's get started. In today's show, I want to talk about the knowing-doing gap, which is actually the second lesson in the 12-lesson program, Thinking into Results. The knowing-doing gap really focuses on, we now, in this day and age, we know so much more, and yet we seem to do less. Let me talk about that a little bit more. So, millions, if not billions of dollars are spent on sales training every year. Yet, if you think about it, there are only a few amazing salespeople out there. And we could really say the same for, mindset or coaching. You think about the billions of dollars that are spent every year on wellness, on mindset, the courses, you fly to go to trainings, you buy books, you listen to webinars, invest, because everyone's trying to find that magic pill or that one person or that one book or that one line that will shift everything for them. Yet, knowing is just not enough. You see, people know how to do it, and yet they don't. They're giving a bunch of examples, they're giving a bunch of to-dos, and yet they don't do it. You see, results are the name of the game. If you look at someone's results, where they're at right now, you can see exactly how that person is programmed, where they've come from. Are you where you want to be? Are you reaching your goals that you set every year? Or maybe it's a weekly goal or a daily goal. Do you commit to something? And when you do, are you following it all the way through? You see, one of the first things Bob Proctor, my mentor, would ask people when he worked with them was, what's the most you've ever made in a year? And it's not because he cared much about the answer. He asked so he could get a better understanding about their mindset and what it was around concerning money and their paradigm history surrounding money. You see, when we start to understand the paradigm, the power of habit, how our subconscious is programmed, and how to change it, that's when the results can change. See, the definition of a paradigm is it's a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. Paradigms are formed in two different ways. You're a product of your environment. So again, in a past show, I talked about the environment and what you surround yourself with, what you're listening to, who you're talking to, what you're letting into your conscious mind. That's how paradigms through repetition are created. And the other way is hereditary. We're born with paradigms. They're multi-generational paradigms that are traits that are passed down from generation to generation. Of the two, it's said that the environmental paradigms are a lot stronger than hereditary because environment affects you day in, day out, and where you show up and how you show up. You see, you have emotional impact, which can change a paradigm, or it's through repetition and coaching. An emotional impact would be a death, a birth, maybe something like 9/11, where you were just jolted into a shift. But most of the time, what changes paradigms is repetition. You see, we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. Your conscious mind accepts or rejects. It's your thinking mind. It's your educated mind or the intellect. It's where we gather all our information. We can listen to stuff. We can ignore it. We can choose to let it into our sphere and into our mind, or we can reject it. So the conscious mind is, again, our educated intellectual mind. Now, the subconscious mind is the emotional mind. It cannot reject anything. It's the difference between reality and imagination. It can't see the difference. It can't feel the difference. So that's where imagination, one of our higher faculties, is so very important. Think about, the new virtual reality, or if you're watching a movie, we'll teleport or transport ourselves into feeling these characters. Or, virtual reality, you sit down and you put those goggles on and you're on that roller coaster, your heart's racing. It's like you're there. Our subconscious mind is just like that. It cannot tell the difference between reality or imagination. So you're firing off as if you're on that roller coaster, or if you're in that movie, if you're really connecting, you're having emotional reactions. And once we're letting things into our conscious mind and having all these thoughts over and over again, having these same conversations over and over again, doom and gloom, whatever it may be, I'm this, I'm not that. And we're just programming ourselves in our subconscious mind because it can't reject any of that, any of the negative stuff that we're thinking or saying. Our subconscious mind is always eavesdropping on our thoughts. So that's why thinking into results, it all starts with our thinking. As energy flows to and through us, our thinking is already there. We are programmed to think in a certain way. And the paradigm is what causes us to behave the way we do. So our paradigms are in our feeling, our emotional mind, which is our subconscious mind. And it's through, again, the repetition over and over again, how we grew up in our environment. What foods we eat. You know your name because it was said to you over and over and over again. So you got to know that's my name, so I'm going to respond. It's very simple programming, and yet it's so simple that we miss it. And the thing is that so many of us in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s are living the way we are and making the decisions we're making based off paradigms that were established in us by the time we were 7 years old. And we just wake up. 95% of what we do is habitual habits. And until you draw the line in the sand and decide, I'm not going to live like this anymore. People do the best they can with the tools and resources they have at the time. So what's to say that when you were 7 years old and your parents or your grandparents or teachers or whomever it was told you things, maybe to protect you, or maybe that's just the paradigms they had from their parents, who got it from their parents. I mean, we're talking about generations and generations and generations of paradigms that we're living with every single day, because school doesn't teach us about our mind. School doesn't teach us about paradigms. School ignores our higher faculties: perception, will, imagination, intuition, memory, reason. And we focus again on our five senses and living from the outside in versus the inside out. We gather information in our conscious mind and we make decisions. And they're usually, typically, we don't even carry them out because our paradigms in our subconscious mind are so much stronger. See, it starts with our thoughts and our conscious mind. And through repetition, that's where we get our paradigms and our emotional feeling mind. And it's by how we're feeling, whether we'll go into action or maybe not go into action, that produces our results. So if you are not liking your current results, you back it up through your action, which you take action based upon how you're feeling, and you feel the way you feel based upon your thoughts. So it all starts with our thoughts. Now, thinking by itself will not change results. You have to internalize the thinking. And as you internalize the thinking through repetition, hire a great mentor or coach. Thinking into results is the program. I'm a product of the product. I know it works because I've done it year after year after year. And it's through this specific process that the paradigm changes. And once your paradigm changes, your behavior changes and your results will change. Most of the things that we've been taught aren't true. You need business experience to run a business. You need to be smart. You need to be well educated. You have to work hard. You have to pour your blood, soul, sweat, tears into your business if you're ever going to succeed. Success comes at a very high price, and it's very difficult to achieve, and most people won't. I mean, that's what we're told, and that's BS, really, because if I'm here living my purpose and my dream and making it happen and meeting my big goal year after year after year from where I came from, you can do it as well. And that is my passion and why I bring thinking into results to anyone and everyone that will listen to me, because people behave as they do, the way they do, and why they do because of their programming. Think about all the things, like when I used to set my goal, I'd be so excited, especially if I, flew off to a training and I got all jazzed up and really excited because, the speakers are great. They're motivational. I'm ready to take on the world. I'm like, yes, I can do it this year. I can sell X amount of houses, or I can, make this impact and make that impact. And I'd be so fired up. And I don't even think it was 2 weeks later, I'm sitting back in my chair in the same spot I was before I left. And that's all about the paradigm, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And paradigms are the problem in everything we do. In the knowing doing gap, we know what we should be doing, but we're not doing it. It's miles apart. And it wasn't until I started to really study myself and study the mind and focus on the laws of the universe and the higher faculties and stop living from the outside in and focus on living from the inside out and taking control of my thinking and really knowing that there's different choices I could be making and different options I had, and I could make different decisions. And I started small because, like Bob said in the beginning, when I took him on as a mentor, I didn't really believe it. I was at a really rough place, and I really only came to this information because I had to do something. That's how rock bottom it was for me. And this just seemed like the amazing thing to do. I didn't have the money. I had to borrow it. I had to find it. But I knew that something had to happen. And my gut was just telling me, my intuition, to do this. And one of the things Bob said that helped me with that was, do what I say until you find out one of two things. Either I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm lying. And he studied this every day for over 60 years. I mean, he taught this in every country. He changed millions of lives. And I am one of the proud and just grateful recipients of his teaching and of his mentorship. And it truly is so rewarding and amazing and life-changing when your awareness and your perception changes around choice. I used to shrink myself, like I talked about, to make other people have the stage, or I didn't think I was worthy, or who am I to have a podcast? Who am I to get up in front of a room full of people? Well, I am so much more than I ever gave myself credit for. My first positive affirmation through repetition was, I am worthy, because I was at a place where I didn't feel it. And it was through thinking into results and through studying so closely and going through a systematic process and program that really, I mean, it's life-changing. And again, if I can do it, I'm here to say anyone can do it. Millions and billions of dollars are spent on training for salespeople, on mindset, coaching, on beauty products. Think about all the money that Americans and people spend just to feel better. And it's just never enough. And it's never enough, or it doesn't work, or it doesn't resonate, because nothing has changed in the person. We need to focus on the paradigm. Help people understand why they're doing what they're doing and how to change what they're doing in order to get the results they want. And once we do that, everything starts to change. And as you start to understand and get into goals, setting goals, your self-image, talking about cybernetics, which is much like a thermostat controls the temperature of the room. Your ideas and paradigms control your behavior. So we need to take the ideas that are controlling our behavior and replace them with other new ideas that will serve us and kick out the old paradigms that have been there since we were 7 years old that just control what we do or don't do because it's what we believe. And the trick is, how do you do that? Well, again, it's laid out in Thinking into Results. And in particular, in the program, the self-image lesson will show you how to change the image you have of yourself and the paradigm that controls your behavior. And as you come to understand this material, your whole world will change and open up as mine did. Again, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm a product of the product. I have the training, the certification, the authority to say all of this because I've lived it. I live it every day. I study this every day. And just getting this out to people, anyone that will listen, I'm grateful that you've clicked on and listened today. It's power, it's awareness, and it will change everything for you. And it's all because we're never taught this. And you don't understand what a paradigm is, don't understand habitual habits and how they're formed and how they are there in a lot of ways to protect us, just to keep us on track, but it's also holding us back from everything. Just like me, I set the same goal. I got really excited. I got out there maybe for a day or two or a week, but after that, my parents like, oh, you don't need to do that today. Just wait till tomorrow, or, yeah, you did more than you should have yesterday. So yeah, it's not a big deal. And, who are you really to think that you could ever do that? Or, this seems a lot more fun. Why don't you go do that? You can come back to this later. All these things and all these just lies that our paradigms tell us. And a lot of it is just to protect us because it's, for a lot of people, more comfortable to stay in the known. And a lot of time that's fear, that's anxiety, that's not taking chances, because we want to stay there because it's comfortable, because we know what the results will be. We know what to expect. There's so many people I've coached that are actually terrified of success, and they say that to me. They're like, well, I think I'm actually just scared. And that's perfectly fine because your paradigm is so strong, it will keep you scared if you allow it to. So again, it's through study, it's through awareness, it's through understanding the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, paradigms, habitual habits, self-image, the knowing doing gap, trampling the terror barrier. I mean, all the things that you need to understand to make change, because again, nothing changes if nothing changes. And truly, I know it's a lot of information. I break it down a lot more, and I'll continue to do so, but I just want to do an overview in today's podcast because I think it's important that we start thinking and we start just understanding and knowing and asking these questions. So would love to hear from you. If you have any feedback or comments, let me know. And until next time, start thinking into results today. Thanks for spending some of your day with me. When you're ready to learn more about Thinking into Results, the program that has changed millions of people's lives in every country across the world, including mine, reach out. I do a free discovery call and would love to connect and learn more about your goals, your dreams, and your desires. The link is in the show notes, or feel free to email me at angiegerber@gmail.com. Until next time, start thinking into results today.